Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in advice about how to be better? One day you're told, it's all about your mindset. The next, it's your habits, your environment, your willpower. It's a lot. It can feel like you're trying to find your way through a really thick fog.
Well, here's the wild part. It's not just you. The experts, the actual behavioral scientists, they've said for decades that their own field is, and this is a direct quote, an incoherent mess. They're the ones admitting there's no single map, no unified theory to guide us. And because of that, a lot of the things we spend so much time chasing, like motivation, are kind of like a behavioral mirage. It feels so real, right? You know when you have it, and you definitely know when you don't. But what if motivation isn't a fundamental cause of our actions? What if it's actually an effect, something that just emerges when deeper, more elemental forces are aligned?
This whole situation, it's a lot like chemistry before the periodic table. I mean, can you imagine? It was just a chaotic jumble of different substances and random theories. But then the periodic table came along and gave it order by identifying the basic building blocks. And what if we could do the exact same thing for human behavior?
Well, that's exactly the idea behind the unified behavior model. It suggests that all of our complex actions, thoughts, and feelings are built from just 4 elemental domains. First, you have stories. That's all your thoughts, your beliefs, your interpretations. Then you have emotions, your feelings. You have your actual behaviors, your actions, and your skills. And finally, your environment, which is not just your physical surroundings, but also your internal physiology, your body itself.
But here's the key. These are not 4 separate things in a list. As you can see with these bidirectional arrows, they form a recursive system, what we can call a behavior ecosystem. Every single element is constantly influencing and being influenced by all the others all the time. A story you tell yourself changes how you feel, which prompts a certain behavior, which happens in an environment, which then sends feedback that shapes your next thought. It's this constant, dynamic, never-ending loop.
So the big claim here is what's called elemental sufficiency. The idea is that these 4 domains are all you need. They are necessary and they are complete. No gaps, no overlap. Now that is a bold statement. So let's put it to the test. Let's really ask why these 4. To do that, we're going to run a quick thought experiment. Let's see if we can break the model by taking one of the elements away. So first up, can you have a model of behavior without an environment?
And the answer is nope. The entire model just collapses. Behavior has to happen somewhere. And remember, this includes your embodied environment, your physiology. Feeling hungry, tired, the hormones in your system. If you take away the body, there's literally no one left to do the behaving.
Okay, round 2. What happens if we try to build a model of behavior, but we take out the element of behavior itself? Yeah, that one's kind of a no-brainer, right? A behavior model without any behavior, well, it's not a model. So behavior definitely has to stay. Okay, how about our inner world? Can we accurately model a person, a sentient being, if we just strip out all the emotions and feelings? And once again, the system just breaks. Feelings are like the electricity powering the whole thing. They're the essential bridge that connects what we think to what we actually do. They are absolutely not optional.
All right, last one. Can we remove cognition? The stories we tell ourselves, the meaning we create. Can we get rid of that?
Well, if you did, you wouldn't be modeling a thinking human anymore. You'd just be modeling a bundle of simple reflexes. For us, the stories in our heads are an inseparable part of why we do what we do. So there you have it. It looks like all 4 are absolutely necessary.
So, if we know they're necessary, the next question is, are they sufficient? Is 4 enough? This leads to what's called the no 5th element challenge. Someone might say, okay, but what about something like perception? That sounds pretty fundamental, right? Let's break it down though. Is perception truly elemental? Well, to perceive something, you need an external stimulus, something to perceive. That's your environment. And you need an internal interpretation of that stimulus. That's your cognition. So you see, perception isn't a 5th element at all. It's a compound, an emergent property, already explained by 2 of the elements we have. And this same logic applies to all those big concepts we think about. Anxiety, discipline, confidence. None of them are fundamental elements. They're all behavioral compounds that emerge from the dynamic, recursive interaction of 1, 2, or even all 4 of the core elements. Let's use anxiety to make this crystal clear. It's not just a single thing. It's a recursive loop. It might kick off with a story, a what if about the future. That story triggers the emotion of fear. That fear then affects your embodied environment. Your heart starts to race. And that physical feeling feeds right back into the story, making it feel more urgent and maybe causing a behavior like avoidance. See? It's the whole system working in a feedback loop.
And this is where it all becomes deeply personal. Because when these 4 elements combine for you, they create your unique behavior ecosystem, or your BES. I want you to think of this as your own private, internal operating system. It is always on, always running in the background of your life. And here is a really crucial point. We can share an ecosystem. You and I can be in the same room, a shared environment, but we can never, ever share a behavior ecosystem. Your BES is entirely, completely private to you. Not even identical twins share one because their internal worlds of stories, feelings, and experiences are theirs and theirs alone.
So what does this all mean for actually changing things in our lives? Well, this is where it gets really practical and empowering. If your private operating system is built on 4 core elements, that means you have 4 powerful, distinct levers that you can pull at any time. We're moving from just understanding the theory to actually using it.
So, here's how you can steer your own BES. You've got 4 points of intervention. You can work on reframing the story you're telling yourself. You can take action to regulate the emotion you're feeling. You can adjust the behavior itself, maybe making it smaller or easier, or you can change your environment, both the space around you and your own internal state.
When you boil it all down, it comes to this: 4 irreducible elements, combining within your private system to create infinite possibilities, all explained within a single unified model. It's about finding that clear, simple order in all the chaos.
And that clarity gives you real agency, real control. So the final question isn't about finding some magical motivation hack. It's about looking at your own behavior ecosystem and asking yourself a much more powerful question. To create the change I want, which of these 4 levers will I pull first?